Hello dear students, today we are going to discuss a very interesting topic, errors in measurement. Before going through the lecture, first let's have a look on its objectives. The first objective, to understand the concept of errors in measurement. Second, to understand the various types of errors in measurement. Third, to understand various sources of errors in measurement. And fourth, to know how to reduce errors in measurement. Now first, let us discuss the meaning of measurement. The term measurement is often used in psychology and education. Measurement is a very old process which is not only used in behavioral sciences but also it is an origin of physical sciences and arithmetics. The development of measurement goes side by side the human development. The precision of measurement is most important criterion of the development of human civilization. Measurement is the formal process which is used in planned and objective ways. Measurement is the process of quantification of a trait or characteristic. The direct measurement is used in physical sciences while measurement is indirect in psychology and education. Because the traits and attributes are abstract, we cannot perceive them through our senses such as intelligence, attitude, aptitude, achievement and personality. These variables are measured through the behaviors. Thus, measurement can be categorized into two components. First, measurement in physical sciences and second, measurement in behavioral sciences. Physical measurement is concerned with the measurement of height, weight, length, size, volume, etc. The zero is the reference point here and the units are fixed or definite. It is also known as absolute measurement. While the process of measurement in behavioral science is difficult as well as complex because it employs the indirect process of measurement. The scale does not directly measure the trait, but the trait is measured indirectly by the behaviors. The basis of measurement is the behavior of a subject. There is no fixed unit of measuring any trait and characteristic, and the measurement is relative in nature. Measurement in any field always involves three steps. First, identifying and defining the quality or attribute that is to be measured. Second, determining a set of operations by which the attribute may be manifest and perceivable. Third, establishing a set of procedures or definitions for translating observations into quantitative statements of degree or amount. Now, let us understand various definitions of measurement. According to Campbell, assignment of numerals to objects or events according to certain rules is called measurement. According to Tyler, assignment of numerals according to rules. Measurement consists of rules for assigning numbers to objects such a way as to represent quantities of attributes, as said by Nunali. According to Bradfield and Murdoch, measurement is the process of assigning symbols to dimension of phenomena in order to characterize the status of the phenomena as precisely as possible. Educational measurement refers to the use of educational assessments and the analysis of data, such as scores obtained from educational assessments, to infer the abilities and proficiencies of students. Educational measurement is the assigning of numerals to traits such as achievement, interest, attitudes, aptitudes, intelligence, and performance. The aim of educational measurement is typically to measure abilities and levels of attainment by students in areas such as reading, writing, mathematics, science, and so forth. Traditionally, attention focuses on whether assessments are reliable and valid. In practice, educational measurement is largely concerned with the analysis of data from educational assessment or tests. Now, let us discuss errors in measurement. Educational measurements for many generations have been made by means of written examinations and teachers' estimates. These are subject to very large errors. Standardized educational tests have been proposed as instruments for obtaining more accurate measures. These instruments, however, do not yield measures involving negligible errors. In our measurements of ability in reading, spelling, arithmetic, and other school subjects, we have not and are not likely to approximate the accuracy and precision with which the scientist is able to measure height, volume, temperature, and mass. We obtain, in fact, errors very much greater than those with which we deal in ordinary physical measurements. In order to avoid misleading interpretations of educational measurements, it is necessary for us to be familiar with the nature and significance of the errors which we encounter. A pupil's performance and hence his score on an educational test depends upon a number of factors. For example, it has been found that recent instruction may operate to increase the scores of pupils. Impending school events or other distractions may tend to lower their scores. Among the factors which may be easily specified as influencing a pupil's score are the following: his emotional status, his physical condition, the effort which he makes, the set of his mind, the recency of instruction in the field of the test, the acquaintance which he has with type of exercise he is asked to do, the manner in which the test is presented, the particular directions which are given him with reference to methods of work, the distractions, and the time allowed. There are other factors such as the attitude of the teacher towards the test, which are more subtle in character but which doubtless in many cases operate to increase or decrease the scores of many or all of the pupils tested. A test is standardized with reference to certain specific testing conditions. The use of a standardized educational test implies that these same testing conditions are to prevail when it is given to a group of pupils. This means that standard testing conditions must be secured for each pupil as well as for the group as a whole. If this is not done, the norms do not constitute a valid basis for interpreting the scores. Any variations from the standard testing conditions tend to produce variations in the performances of some or all of the pupils. These variations constitute errors of measurement. Measurement error in education generally refers to either, first, the difference between what a test score indicates and a student's actual knowledge and abilities, or second, errors that are introduced when collecting and calculating data-based reports, figures, and statistics related to school and students. Measurement errors occur when the response provided differs from the real value. Such errors may be attributable to the respondent, the interviewer, the questionnaire, the collection method, or the respondent's record-keeping system. In simple words, measurement error is any difference between the observed value and the real or true value, which leads to the skewing of results if not solved. It also means the deviation or departure from the true value. Now, let us discuss types of measurement errors. A good measuring instrument or test requires some technical knowledge. It includes the knowledge and understanding of the various kinds of errors that influence the process of measurement. These are known as errors of measurement. Numbers presented to students in a test always have some error associated with them. Many times, these errors are a result of measurement errors. Measurement errors generally fall into two categories: random errors and systematic errors. Let us discuss random error. Random errors are errors that affect the precision of a measurement. Random errors are two-sided errors because in the absence of other type of errors, repeated measurements yield results that fluctuate above and below the true or accepted value. Measurements subject to random errors differ from each other due to random, unpredictable variations in the measurement process. The precision of measurements subject to random errors can be improved by repeating those measurements. Random errors are easily analyzed by statistical analysis. Random errors can be easily detected but can be reduced by repeating the measurement or by refining the measurement method or technique. Random errors refer to any random influence on the measurement of a variable. Random error is caused by any factors that randomly affect measurement of the variable across the sample. For instance, each person's mood can inflate or deflate their performance on any occasion. In a particular testing, some children may be feeling in a good mood and others may be depressed. If mood affects their performance on the measure, it may artificially inflate the observed scores for some children and artificially deflate them for others. The important thing about random error is that it does not have any consistent effects across the entire sample. Instead, it pushes observed scores up or down randomly. The important property of random error is that it adds variability to the data but does not affect average performance for the group. Because of this, random error is sometimes considered noise. Now let's discuss systematic error. Systematic errors are errors that affect the accuracy of a measurement. Systematic errors are one-sided errors because in the absence of other types of errors, repeated measurements yield results that differ from the true or accepted value by the same amount. The accuracy of measurements subject to systematic errors cannot be improved by repeating those measurements. Systematic errors cannot easily be analyzed by statistical analysis. Systematic errors can be difficult to detect, but once detected, can be reduced only by refining the measurement method or technique. Systematic error is caused by any factors that systematically affect measurement of the variable across the sample. Systematic error arises from a flaw in the measurement scheme which is repeated each time a measurement is made. In other words, if each time we administer a psychometric instrument, we do the same thing wrong, our measurement will differ systematically from the correct result. Some sources of systematic error are: first, errors in the quality of the measuring instrument. For example, if there is no correct answer in a multiple choice item, all test takers will systematically get lower than the actual scores. Second, inappropriate testing conditions. For example, if there is a loud traffic going by just outside a classroom where students are taking a test, this noise is liable to affect all of the children's scores, in this case, systematically lowering them. And third, bias of the experimenter. The experimenter might consistently read the instructions of an instrument incorrectly, or might let knowledge of the expected value of a result influence the measurements. Bhatnagar and Rani J.S. have categorized the measurement errors as personal errors, variable errors, constant errors, and interpretive errors. First, let us discuss personal errors. In the field of measurement, the term objectivity is used to designate that the characteristic is related to personal error. The persons observing exactly the same responses are likely to assign different scores because they can see the performance only from their own views or biases. The same person examining the same responses on two different occasions is likely to vary. This is known as personal error. It is termed as a degree of objectivity. Now, variable errors. This kind of error may occur in psychological and educational measurement. The variable errors are those arising from accidents and inaccuracies due to many causes. A person making the observation which influences from time to time, test to test, and individual to individual is accountable to variable error. This is termed as the degree of reliability. Now let's discuss constant errors. Most of the measurement of education and psychology are indirect. It is neither possible nor desirable to open a person's skull to look inside. An instrument measures what is claimed to measure, which is related to the trait or characteristics. Testing the problem of constant error is the problem of validity. It is necessary to know whether a test really measures what it claims to measure. In a scientific experiment, a constant error, also known as systematic error, is a source of error that causes measurements to deviate consistently from their true value. Unlike random errors, which causes measurements to deviate by varying amounts either higher or lower than their true values, constant errors cause the same amount of deviation in one direction only. Now let us discuss interpretive errors. The test score of an individual has no meaning until it is interpreted in terms of the performance of the other individuals or the performance of the group. Interpretive errors are those which result due to the absence of proper reference point, as a result of which the tester interprets the scores obtained in appropriate manner or in the state of confusion. Interpretive errors may be stated that is the problem of translating the raw scores into the norms. This problem of interpretive errors is taken in care through a process called standardization. This type of error is measured through norms. The earlier three types of errors are usually considered in constructing the criterion test, but the last one is interpretive error, which is not taken in consideration because the criterion test evaluates the learning objectives in terms of group performance. This error involves when an individual score is interpreted. Now, let us discuss sources of error in measurement. Measurement errors may result from a wide variety of factors, such as a student's mental and emotional state during the test period or the conditions under which the test was administered. For example, students may have been unusually tired, hungry, or emotionally distressed, or distractions such as loud noises, disruptive pairs, or technical problems could have adversely affected test performance. Test scores for young children are often considered to be especially susceptible to measurement error. Given that young children tend to have shorter attention spans and they may not be able to fully comprehend the importance of the test and take it seriously. In addition, young children of the same chronological age or grade level may be at very different stages of social, cognitive, and emotional development. And if a young child experiences a rapid developmental growth spurt, test results could quickly become outdated and therefore misrepresentative. The following is a representative list of a few additional factors and problems that may give rise to measurement error. First, ambiguously phrased questions or inaccurate answers. Second, test items, questions, and problems may not address the material students were actually taught. Third, the scoring process may be poorly designed and both human scorers and computer scoring systems may make mistakes. Fourth, test administrators could give students incorrect directions, help students cheat, or fail to create calm and conducive test-taking conditions. Fifth, test result data may be inaccurately recorded and reported. Seventh, flawed, imprecise, or mismanaged data collection processes resulting in incorrect reports, records, figures, and statistics. Eighth, an absence of clear and understandable rules, guidelines, and standards for data collection and reporting processes, or ambiguous guidelines that give rise to misinterpretation and error. Ninth, lack of adequate training, experience, or technical expertise in proper data collection and reporting procedures among those responsible for collecting and reporting data at the school, district, and state levels. Now, let us discuss strategies to reduce measurement error. While some degree of measurement error is, and perhaps always will be, unavoidable, many educators, schools, district, government agencies, and test developers are taking steps to mitigate measurement error in both testing and data reporting. Measurement error is one reason that many test developers and testing experts recommend against using a single test result to make important educational decisions. For example, the Standards for Educational and Psychological Testing, a set of proposed guidelines jointly developed by the American Educational Research Association, American Psychological Association, and the National Council on Measurement in Education, recommends that in elementary or secondary education, a decision or characterization that will have a major impact on a test taker should not automatically be made on the basis of a single test score. The following are a few representative strategies that educators and test developers may employ to reduce measurement error in testing and data reporting. Test developers can carefully review questions for test bias and fairness and remove or revise items that may adversely affect the performance of students of different races, cultural groups, or genders. Test developers can conduct pilot tests to get feedback from respondents regarding how easy or hard the measure was and information about how the testing environment affected their performances, difficulty levels, phrasing clarity, and bias, and then revise tests before they are administered. To reduce errors in the human scoring of questions that cannot be scored by computer, such as open response and essay questions, 2 or more scorers can score each item or essay. If they disagree, the item can be passed on to additional scorers. Common data collection and reporting standards can be developed to improve the reliability of data and allow for performance comparisons across schools and states. Redundant processes, multiple systems, and people checking for errors can be used to improve reporting accuracy. Clearer guidelines and better training can be provided to those compiling and calculating data. Improved technology and the use of compatible or interoperable systems can facilitate data quality and the exchange of data among different schools, organizations, and states. With this, we conclude this very important topic of today. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. For now, it's time to say goodbye. Stay blessed.